Hey everyone, Errol here from At the Edge, Lessons in Culture and Leadership. Today I'm talking to leaders and coaches about how to increase psychological safety in your team or organization. In recent times, psychological safety has become a bit of a buzzword. So while many of us know what it is, practical strategies that actually build psychological safety remain misunderstood and elusive. So in this video, I'm going to explain why psychological safety is one of the most powerful drivers of performance, and also share with you a very practical 3-step strategy to increase psychological safety in your team or organization. So please stay tuned. So let's start by defining psychological safety. The term was originally coined by Harvard Business School professor Amy Edmondson. She sees psychological safety as the shared belief that the environment is conducive to taking personal risks. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I wanted to go one step further. So I see psychological safety as the belief that you can speak up, ask questions, express concerns, and even admit to mistakes without fear of being ridiculed, shamed, or belittled. It means that people can come to work and be their whole selves without the need to compartmentalize or excessively censor particular aspects of their identity, their personality, or their culture. In my work with teams and organizations, I find there are 3 common misconceptions when it comes to psychological safety. The first of these is that psychological safety is binary. Either we have it or we don't. Where in fact, it sits along a continuum, where at one end is a 100% fear-based culture, and at the other end is a 100% psychologically safe culture. Obviously, most teams or organizations sit somewhere in the middle of these extremes, where there is some degree of psychological safety. However, it's not absolute. The second common misconception is that psychological safety is relatively fixed or stable, whereas in fact, it can change day to day, hour to hour, even minute to minute. We have all been in a meeting where there was a palpable change in levels of engagement, belonging, tension, or the feeling like we're walking on eggshells throughout the meeting. These all represent shifts in psychological safety and are indicative of its dynamic nature. The third misconception is that psychological safety is synonymous with comfort, whereas they're actually very different. Psychological safety fosters openness and risk-taking by actually increasing our tolerance for discomfort. Comfort, on the other hand, prioritizes avoiding discomfort. Therefore, it maintains the status quo by inhibiting growth, challenge, and innovation. So a key skill to learn is to discern the difference between the unavoidable discomfort that accompanies growth and the tension that arises due to a genuine need for psychological safety. If you use the metaphor of a workout, it's the difference between the good pain when muscles get challenged and are about to grow versus the bad pain where we're doing damage to a muscle and compromising its safety. So why is psychological safety so important? I believe psychological safety is the holy grail of building a high-performance culture. This is because it's the foundation that enables the key drivers of performance to thrive. Most people would agree that using coaching as a vehicle for development, having a culture of shared accountability, collaboration and teamwork, and discretionary effort are all key drivers of performance. What's not on my list is the ability to maintain composure and make good decisions, particularly under pressure. Can these drivers of performance occur in low safety environments? Probably. But for them to really thrive and optimize performance, we really need environments where there are high levels of psychological safety. For those of you interested in the neuroscience of composure and making good decisions, I'll put a link in the description below for a video on that subject. So how do we increase levels of psychological safety in teams and organizations? In working with my clients, I have found the following 3-step process to be really effective. The first step is to build capability at tracking levels of psychological safety. Here we need to recognize and notice subtle shifts in indicators such as fear, engagement, freedom, and tension. The second step in increasing psychological safety is to link specific behaviors to shifts in psychological safety. So, which behaviors increase it and which behaviors decrease it. Each team will have its own kind of unique set of behaviors which create shifts in psychological safety. But commonly, making sure everyone has a chance to speak in a meeting, or encouraging or welcoming a dissenting or challenging viewpoint, or validating someone's concerns or fears about an upcoming presentation will increase psychological safety. On the other hand, cutting someone off mid-sentence or rushing to a synthetic consensus and therefore minimizing dissenting perspectives will decrease psychological safety. Once we understand which behaviors increase or decrease psychological safety, the third and final step is to actively reinforce or reward those behaviors that promote psychological safety and challenge those behaviors that undermine it. This ongoing recalibration helps to maintain psychological safety at optimum levels over time. In conclusion, how can you support your team to build capability in the 3 steps that increase psychological safety, and so create the conditions where your team has the best thinking, the boldest ideas, and the highest performance? Over to you.